This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Jessica Levenson. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Hold on a second.
Sure.
Of all the times, there is a call coming through. It's an automated call from the school. I apologize. Let's start again.
Sure. I didn't even hear it, though. It didn't even come through on my side.
Okay.
We could start.
All right, good. Okay.
Good night, Jessica Levenson. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I am doing very well. I'm excited to participate. How about yourself?
I am excellent. I'm glad to have you as well. Definitely a great conversation is lurking. You got to meet my previous guest, which was super cool, right? I wish I could do that more often. What part of the world are you in right now?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Right, so you both are from Boston. Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Well, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history.
Sure. So I am part of the Innovation Women group, which is definitely how we made our connection. And the reason that I'm part of that group is that I am a public speaker who delves into conversations around search engine optimization, social media, and most especially my passion, women in STEM or STEAM. And I am the VP of Search and Engagement at Tech Target.
Ooh, you're doing a ton of things. Which means you have many things on your plate, which means that your systems must be pretty intact, especially with the SEO parts. All right, let's do that then. Who did you learn that ability from? Systemization.
Sure. So search engine optimization is something I learned actually on the job. I don't think anyone actually goes to school to learn that. And I was actually at that point in my life, which is now over 14 years ago, I was a web designer and developer. And I needed to ensure that the sites that I was designing and building for my clients and the agency that I was working for were actually discoverable, because a site can be beautiful and function well, but if nobody gets there, who cares? So at that point, I started to learn SEO, and I realized actually that was where my passion was, and I moved on from doing design and development into search engine optimization, and then eventually social media as well.
Intriguing. So, all right. So, I mean, like, how do you move so succinctly to something like that?
Sure. Well, it's definitely, there's an intrinsic tie there, because it is about how sites are developed and structured, and whether they are crawlable by search engines and findable by users, and then whether the experience is a positive one. So I actually see it as a natural progression, because the two things are definitely tied intrinsically. And for me, it just became the decision that I had more passion and love for the overall strategy of that side of design and development than I did actually being the designer and the developer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've had a similar type of experience. When we started doing the podcast, like we would produce the episode and then we would just release it. And then when we learned Yoast, right? So Yoast helps you with the SEO. And the green, that green button that sits on top of the post. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with seeing that button in green. Yeah. So, it helped tremendously. Like, we have a ton of traffic that comes through the website, and I believe it's because of the SEO, as well as the many people I've spoken with as well. But the strategy side of it is tight, and it takes a type of ability to look forward before you get there, because then you're producing content with the idea of what is required, which again requires a great skill, Jessica. It talks about your order and how you put things in place. Again, systemization, but who did you learn that from, that ability to have that type of order?
Gosh, I think some of it is innate. I think it's just who I am as a person. I also think that some of it is probably the result of my mom. She's a really organized individual. Like her, find peace in organization. So I think systemization like that is just another piece of that puzzle.
Now, the speaking side of what you do, when you hit the stage, what are you talking about?
Sure. So it really depends on where I'm at. If I'm speaking to publishers and marketers, I'm probably speaking specifically about search engine optimization tactics and trends, and same thing around social media. I'm going to be giving people advice and then examples of learnings and results out of projects that I have taken on or my team has taken on. And then if I'm doing something around like the STEM or women's side of it, then I'm going to be specifically talking about the importance of women in STEM or STEAM, and making sure that there's representation so younger girls can see themselves in these roles, and also addressing things like attrition and inclusivity, and ensuring that, it's not just women that look like me, it's women of all different backgrounds. So it really depends on the event that I'm at, but those are the key things overall.
That's wonderful. Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you?
LinkedIn.
All right. So LinkedIn at Jessica Levenson.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years. It could be for fun.
Sure. So I see this actually as a fun thing as well as a benefit. I definitely making museums and art a priority for myself and also for my family.
So you visit museums, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a number of memberships. We're fortunate enough to be able to belong to a number of the New England museums, and we're also fortunate to live in an area of the country that has some significant art collections. So we visit them frequently. We were actually at the Museum of Fine Arts just this past week.
Sweet.
Yes, it is. It is the original source of my happiness as a child, and and I want that for my kids as well. So it's definitely a top priority for us.
That's great. Why would you suggest to others that are listening that they do have that built into their life, right? That opportunity to it's like a stress reliever, right? In the midst of things.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it makes me happy. It makes me feel fulfilled, and it inspires me. So I really enjoy being there. It's a good way to slow down, to force us to enjoy life in the moment instead of this rat race. And I'm type A. I am very, very driven. So I too get caught up in that. It's good to not do that all the time and to see objects, people, concepts in different ways. And I think that's one of the beauties of museums. And it is attainable because most of the museums in our area actually have free programs and such, so that almost everybody can actually enjoy the museum, which I think is really important. It shouldn't just be, people who can afford to be there, which is important.
Amazing audience. You're hearing it live from Jessica Levenson. Again, you can connect with her at LinkedIn at Jessica Levenson. Jessica, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm blue Caribbean water. Jessica, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow. So I think that the one thing that I can look back on is the blizzard of 1978, which definitely dates me a little bit. But it was a massive storm involving multiple feet of snow. And it definitely set off a bit of panic in New England here. And it's seared into my memory because of that.
How old were you?
Yeah, I was just about a little over 2 years old, actually.
Wow. Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Yeah, I think honestly it was because of the panic around, and actually my father at the time had been out in a vehicle, as were many people across Massachusetts, and I was with my grandparents at their home, and they were trying to track him down, which of course back then was far more difficult. There were no cell phones, and so I think that, as well as the visuals, just seemed to stick in my brain. And really, for folks that live in New England, that blizzard is like a quintessential New England moment. And so I think all of those things cobbled together, and ultimately my father was fine and safe, as were most people. It kind of just became one of those memorable events, and almost in a warm way, instead of the original anxiety that was behind him missing.
That's intriguing. So how do you see it connecting to who you are today?
I am a New Englander at heart. I think there's one of the things about growing up in New England and the crazy weather that we experience. And there's an old adage that if you don't like the weather here, wait a minute, because it changes. And I think that adaptability and that hardiness is what also translates into why I really like what I do for a job. Search engine optimization and social media are fast-paced, always changing. And if you're not able to roll with the punches and adapt and accept change, it just won't work. So I see that tying together nicely, actually, in being raised here and having to deal with that kind of rapid weather and all of the things that it impacts, and preparedness, all of that kind of stuff makes me, the businesswoman that I am today as well.
I love it. I'll add just one layer, which is one that you've developed, which is connectivity, which the internet has given you. It's one of the strongest connectivity tools, I think, in terms of there was just this emptiness with your father being away, where there wasn't that layer of connectivity while he was not there. And to see that you're functioning in that as well, the strength that brings, that's the one thing I'll add that's pretty fascinating as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic point, and absolutely rely on that pretty heavily these days.
I as well. I'm speaking to you based on it right now. I know how to feel it.
Exactly.
All right, my friend. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Sure. So this one was really hard. I think, first of all, you're 12 years old, music is so defining. It's, the soundtrack of all of the ups and downs and things that are going on, whether it's sports or school. But I know, and I remember well, that U2's Joshua Tree, the entire album was a huge hit for me. And I remember because my stepfather had even attended the concert and brought back a T-shirt, which I wore until it fell apart.
Sweet.
And totally still in love with them today. I think they're great. And while it's hard to pick one song off of it, I think I'd probably go with or Without You if I was forced to choose. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thanks for choosing one. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's hard, right?
It is hard. U2, that was an amazing group. It is amazing.
Yes.
Group. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we have arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form, so it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Jessica?
Sure. Yes.
Jessica, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I actually have a team of people. Yes.
Are you married? Well, you said you are married, yeah?
Yes.
And you have, do you have children?
I do. I have 3.
Wow. Do you believe in God?
I think so.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Do I have an inner circle of friends? Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Not unless I've suddenly gotten some quiet time without children and I decide to binge watch something like Mad Men.
All right. What about screen time? The phone and the computer, is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh gosh. It's probably Probably around 8 hours a day due to work. Yeah.
Jessica, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Jessica N. Levenson,
Sure.
what would you say that is?
Sure. Be your own hero and lead by example.
Love it. Jessica, this was such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Man, just be true to yourself and don't give up. Yeah, I really think that's the ultimate thing to live by, and you'll get what your goal is.
Jessica, again, great pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being on What
Thank
Is
you.
Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.